Hey guys, what's up? It's Dark here and welcome back to another beta video. Today we're going to go over the Protection Warrior in Legion. So just like I did with the Brewmaster, I'm going to try and give you a really simple overview of what has changed from WOD to Legion. I'm going to cover the abilities and talents that have gone, the gameplay changes, the artifact weapon, and anything else that I can think to throw in the video. And it is going to be pretty long, so I will put links in the description if you want to jump to a certain area rather than watch the whole video, but I will try and make it as less boring, I suppose, as I possibly can, and I will try to cut the babble down. So what is gone in regards to abilities and talents? So Heroic Strike is gone, Shield Barrier is gone, Enraged Regeneration is gone, Rage Generation has changed, and I will touch on that in gameplay. Stances are gone, you are now permanently in defensive stance as a passive. Execute is gone, Bladestorm is gone, Mocking Banner is gone, Bloodbath is gone, Dragon Roar is gone, Second Wind is gone, Double Time is gone, Juggernaut's gone, Sudden Death is gone, Unyielding Strikes is gone, Mass Spell Reflection is gone and is now an Honor talent, Vigilance is gone, Gladiator's Resolve is gone, Hamstring is gone, Commanding Shout is gone, Battle Shout is gone, and Intimidating Shout is gone. And I don't think I've missed any, but as you can see, there is a pretty long list of abilities that have gone. So what have we got left and what has changed? So we've still got Shield Slam. So slam the target with your shield, causing physical damage. The thing is now it has a longer cooldown at 9 seconds and it generates 15 rage. Revenge, swing in a wide arc, dealing damage to all enemies in front of you, again on a longer cooldown for 9 seconds. Your successful dodge and parries reset the remaining cooldown on Revenge once, and it can happen once every 3 seconds, and this generates 5 rage. Deep Wounds now triggers from Revenge rather than Thunderclap, and I'm still not sure how I feel about that. I like this change. Intervene and Charge have now been merged into one button called Intercept, so if you're targeting an enemy it will charge and root them for 1.5 seconds. It has a minimum range of 8 yards. When targeting an ally, it will intercept the next melee or range attack within 10 seconds while that target remains within 10 yards of you, and it will generate 20 rage. Heroic Leap is still here, leap through the air to a target location, slamming down to deal physical damage to all enemies within 8 yards, and it resets the remaining cooldown on Taunt now. Ignore Pain is a new ability, and this has replaced Shield Barrier pretty much. Fight through the pain, ignoring 90% of the damage you take from any source for a cost of 40 rage. Shield Block, and this is our main active mitigation ability. Raise your shield, block every melee attack against you for 6 seconds. These blocks can be critical blocks and increases the shield slam damage by 30% while it's active. It's on a 15-second cooldown for a cost of 10 rage. Battle Cry is new. Let loose a Battle Cry, granting 100% increased critical strike chance for 5 seconds on a 1-minute cooldown. Demoralizing Shout, demoralize all enemies within 10 yards, reducing the damage they do to you by 20% for 8 seconds, and it's on a 1.5 minute CD. Devastate, a direct strike dealing physical damage. It has a 30% chance to reset the remaining cooldown on Shield Slam, and it's our spam filler ability as usual, and it generates no rage. Last Stand increases the current maximum health by 30% for 15 seconds. Pummel's still our interrupt and stops a spell from that School of Magic being cast by 4 seconds. Berserker Rage is still here. Go Berserk, removing and granting immunity to fear, sap, and incapacitative effects for 6 seconds. Shield Wall still our big cooldown. Reduce all damage you take by 40% for 8 seconds on a 4-minute CD. Spell Reflector's had a nice add-on now. It's an instant cast. Raise your shield, reflecting spells cast on you and reducing magic damage you take by 30%. It lasts for 5 seconds or until a spell is reflected on a 25-second cooldown. Thunderclap blasts all enemies within 8 yards. Victory Rush heals us for 30% of our maximum health. Heroic Throw throws our weapon, causing physical damage and generating high threat. Focused Rage, this is pretty much as what replaced Heroic Strike. Focus your rage on your next Shield Slam, causing it to deal additional damage and stacking up to 3 times. It's off the GCD and it costs 30 rage, and I will touch on that ability in gameplay. Neltharian's Fury, now this is our artifact ability. Critically block all attacks with a stream of Shadow Flame erupting from your shield, dealing damage over 3 seconds to all enemies in front of you. You can use your defensive abilities whilst channeling this ability, and I will touch on that when we get to the artifact, but there's a big word I want you to hang on to there, and it is channeling. And lastly, the passive that we've currently got is Mastery Critical Block, which increases your chance to block by 16% and your chance to critically block by 48%. It also increases your attack power by 32% at the moment. Now keep in mind, lots of things can change by the time we hit live, but at the moment, this is where we are, and this is what we've got to play with. So you can see there are some cool changes. You just have to get over the fact that you've lost so much. Ignore Pain is actually a really great addition to the game. Instead of Shield Barrier, it probably fits with Class Fantasy a hell of a lot better also. And I love the magic reduction they've given to Spell Reflect now. And it's going to make Warrior Tanks actually a really easy tanking class to pick up now because it has become so simplified. So getting into gameplay, and straight off the bat, I'm going to be 100% honest with you, and I'm going to say when I started playing the Prot Warrior on Legion Beta, I fucking hated it. I went to the forums and I made a really negative post because I had a complete knee-jerk reaction to a class that I love, that I've played since vanilla. I only swapped in WOD towards the end to a Monk and a DK for challenge modes. I've always been a Prot Warrior and I fucking hated it. It was slow, it was clunky, all my abilities were gone, and I just hated it. So after I got over myself and I got over the sky is falling and all that kind of bullshit, I went back and I've sunk quite a few hours into the Prot Warrior now, and I don't actually mind it as much as I originally did. You just have to keep in mind it is not the same class in some ways that you are playing in WOD. It is it's a different monster now, and it's certainly simplified and it's slower. Now, in terms of the rotation itself, nothing has drastically changed in regards to the priority system or anything like that. There's abilities that have gone out of the rotation, but you're still going to be hitting Revenge off cooldown. You're still going to be hitting your Shield Slam off cooldown. You're going to be using your Shield Block for active mitigation, your Ignore Pains for magic damage and whatnot. You're still going to be filling your gaps with Devastate, Thunderclap for AoE, all that kind of stuff. So it's still the same gameplay. They've taken out Heroic Strike, which used to be our Rage Dump ability. Now it's Focused Rage, which is our Rage Dump ability. So if you're going to cap on Rage, you'll be using your Focused Rage ability. It costs 30 Rage. You can stack it up to 3 times, and then your Shield Slam is going to hit harder. So that is pretty much the way that the gameplay in regards to a rotation works. And due to Shield Slam and Revenge being on a 9-second cooldown, it's rather slow. The biggest issue, though, facing Warriors is the change to the way that Rage generation work, and I spoke about it at the start, and this is where I'm going to touch on it now. Now, if you go to any Warrior forum, be it MMO Champ or the WoW Beta forums, you will see 4 letters RFDT, which stands for Rage from Damage Taken. And this is the big issue that has come to Prot Warriors. So if you've spent any time looking at the forums, you will see a mountain of fucking hate train for the way they've changed Rage generation works, and everyone felt that it was perfect in MOP and the WOD build. Why did it have to change into Legion? The reason there's the problem with Rage from Damage Taken is it pretty much means that the more gear we get, the better trinkets we get, the consumables, last stand, artifact traits pouring into it, it's going to have an effect on the amount of Rage we generate, and not in a good way. It's not all bad though from the start point. So when you start off in dungeons, normal modes, moving through them into heroics, into mythics, into mythic pluses, you're going to be doing big enough pulls, or you're going to be under-geared enough that you're not actually going to notice this issue, because you are going to get hit enough and you're going to be getting trucked that hard that you're going to have Rage to use. So it's not going to be the problem at the start, and it actually may very well transverse into Protection Warriors being a really fucking awesome viable tank in Mythic Plus dungeons, because the trash is always so much harder and there's an emphasis on speed. So this actually may put Prot Warriors really near the top for Mythic Plus dungeons where they were so shit in WOD, which I wouldn't mind at all. The issue though is as you outgear content, so if you're going into heroics, if you're going into mythics, and then you decide to go and help your friends in normal or whatnot, you are going to be rage starved because you are not going to be taking any damage. So as your gear gets better, as your health gets higher, you're going to get, bigger absorbs from your Ignore Pains. The problem's going to be if you don't have the rage to use it, what's the point? You're actually going to end up taking more damage because you can't use your mitigation abilities when you need to use them. So that's the big issue facing us with Rage generation at the moment. Now our 4-piece tier 19 will help in that struggle. It will allow critical blocks to generate Rage. and I'm assuming tier 20 is going to have something similar in regards to prot warriors when they're on farm status as to what they're going to do. And as I said, the big cries come from the MOP and WOD models really felt fantastic because it always felt like we had enough control over our rage generation to be able to have a rewarding playstyle. The other thing that's going to be really interesting is haste is now going to probably be a really chased after stat by protection warriors, and that feels really fucking weird. Now, don't take this, don't take this 100% at the moment. Everything could change, and I haven't seen any real maths around it. But the thing with haste now is that it is going to scale the cooldown on shield slam and revenge. So if we reduce our cooldown on shield slam and revenge more, we're going to have better control over our own rage generation, which will be something that warriors will really chase after, especially as you become or as you outgear content. It's also going to reduce the cooldown on shield blocked out active mitigation. But obviously by stacking haste, we're going to miss out on the defensive gains from mastery and crit. So it is going to be really weird to see where all this goes. The removal of heroic strike has really hurt the rotational feel in regards to speed. Focused rage, as I said, is the replacement, but it leaves a lot to be desired, I think, in a rewarding gameplay sense. So if you're going to cap out on your rage, you're going to use your focused rage. Now, it's going to be great in PvP if you're being kited around, because you're taking that damage, you can store that rage, and you can unleash it when you catch someone. In PvE, though, it doesn't really feel the same. With Heroic Strike, when you were up there, you had that ability to switch from a defensive to an offensive point of view, and you could start dumping your rage into those abilities and get an instant sort of cashback. With Focus Rage, however, you just store it. There's no instant reward for that, and if you stack it 3 times, your shield slam hits harder. It hasn't done a great job, I think, in replacing Heroic Strike, and I would have loved it if they just had left Heroic Strike in the game. The new build, as I mentioned, does feel slow and clunky while you're getting used to it because you are waiting for that long cooldown on Revenge and Shield Slam, and you're pretty much just filling time with Devastate in between. In regards to soloing content now, Protection Warriors are really hurt with the removal of Enraged Generation and Second Wind from the talent tree. From a solo sense, I really don't know how Warriors are going to go. Blizzard really wanted tanks to be reliant on healers, but this kind of feels like it's gone too far. With a warrior, you're going to be fantastic in regards to smoothing out damage. You're going to be one of the best classes for smoothing out damage. Unfortunately, from a solo sense, you'll just smooth it out until you die. So I probably haven't painted the greatest and most optimistic picture, but as I said, it's not all bad, it's just very different. And I'm still actually tossing up whether I will play a Protection Warrior for the Mythic Plus application, or whether I'll stick to a Demon Hunter. I actually think Prot Warriors will be really good in that dungeon environment. And they'll obviously be really good at smoothing out damage in compared to the spikiness that monks, demon hunters, and DKs are going to face. The other issues I suppose I should touch on is if you're off tanking, you're going to be very bored because you're pretty much going to be generating no rage and you're not going to be doing anything. When you overgear content, you are really going to struggle. As I said, you are going to be rage starved. And if you want to trade offense for defense, you won't pretty much be able to now. Playing poorly on a Protection Warrior will actually earn you more rage and earn you more to do with your abilities than playing smartly will. So this is where it'll come in great for all the new people wanting to try Protection Warrior out, because the badder you play, the worse you play, the more rage you are going to get and the more buttons you are going to be able to push versus the person that is smart with their playstyle. So moving on, guys, to talents. So level 15, Shockwave, Stormbolt, and Warbringer. Shockwaves send a wave of force in a frontal cone, causing damage and stunning all enemies within 10 yards for 4 seconds. The cooldown is reduced by 20 seconds if you hit at least 3 targets. Stormbolt hurls your weapon at an enemy, causing physical damage and stunning them for 4 seconds. And Warbringer Charge now deals damage to all enemies within 5 yards of the target and stuns them for 1.5 seconds. So my pick here is definitely going to be Shockwave. It'll be the best in Dungeons and Mythic Plus environments. And Stormbolt is probably going to be the thing you're going to take for your single target, your raid bosses and whatnot, and just add for a button for you to press. Level 30, Impending Victory, Inspiring Presence, and Safeguard. Impending Victory, instantly attack the target, causing a percent of attack power, and again I haven't put that in here because it'll probably change by the time it hits live. It heals you for 15% of your maximum health, killing an enemy that yields experience or honor resets the cooldown of Impending Victory. Inspiring Presence, you inspire all allies within 60 yards, causing them to be healed for 3% of all damage they deal. And Safeguard, run at high speeds towards a party or raid member, removing all movement effects on you, intercepting the next melee or range attack made against them, and reducing their damage taken by a certain percentage for 10 seconds. So Inspiring Presence is probably going to be awesome in a raid environment, I would imagine, and Safeguard is certainly going to be the other pick. I'm running with Safeguard at the moment. Level 45, Renewed Fury, Ultimatum and Avatar. Renewed Fury, Ignore Pain, also enrages you, increases all damage you deal by 10% for 6 seconds. Ultimatum, your Shield Slam critical strikes cause your next focus rage to cost no rage. And Avatar, transform into a Colossus for 20 seconds, causing you to deal 20% increased damage and removing all roots and snares. So you've got a number of choices here. It is really interesting though, as Ultimatum seems to couple up really well with Vengeance in the talent tree, and they kind of seem like they're supposed to be taken together. So I'm running with Ultimatum at the moment. Renewed Fury will certainly have application in regards to damage, and so will Avatar, but at the moment I am running with Ultimatum. That sort of feels like the best choice. Level 60, Warlords Challenge, Bounding Stride and Crackling Thunder. Warlord's Challenge, while Berserker Rage is active, you may use Taunt with no cooldown, and taunted enemies move 50% faster towards you. Bounding Stride reduces the cooldown on Heroic Leap by 15 seconds, and Heroic Leap also now increases your run speed by 70% for 3 seconds. And Crackling Thunder increases the radius of Thunderclap by 100%. Bounding Stride feels like the real standout in this talent tree, 100%. The increased Thunderclap, I guess... Fuck you, phone. The increased Thunderclap, I guess, could have a dungeon application in it, but really Bounding Stride does seem like the overall best choice. Level 75, Best Served Cold, Never Surrender and Indomitable. Best Served Cold, Rage generates 2 additional rage for... Revenge generates 2 additional rage for each target that it hits. Never Surrender, Ignore Pain will ignore up to 100% more damage based on your missing health. And Indomitable increases your maximum health by 25% and the maximum effective Ignore Pain by 25%. So considering all that we just went through in regards to rage generation, as we gear up, Indomitable will probably become less and less attractive at the higher gear level, but at a lower gear level it is a fine option to take. Never Surrender and Best Served Cold will be fantastic in dungeon applications, I think. Also, if you're rage starved and things like that, it will be great, especially with Best Served Cold. Never Surrender will be much more of a defensive option. Level 90, Vengeance, Into the Fray and Booming Voice. So Vengeance, Ignore Pain reduces the rage cost of your next Focused Rage by 50%, and Focused Rage reduces the rage cost of your next Ignore Pain by 50%. Into the Fray, you gain 3% haste for each enemy within 10 yards, up to 5 enemies. Booming Voice Demoralizing Shout also generates 50 rage and increases damage you deal to affected targets by 20%. So Into the Fray will work probably really well in a fast-paced dungeon environment where you're pulling large trash mobs. It'll obviously reduce the cooldown on Revenge, Shield Slam and Shield Block. It'll give you better control over your own rage generation. Vengeance couples up really well with Ultimatum, and as I said, they work really well together, so they feel like obvious choices. Booming Voice, 50 rage every 1.5 minutes. And increase the damage you deal to affected targets by 20%. So it's not a horrible option. I don't know the maths as to which one is going to work out better. If anything does come out like that, I will certainly update it on this video. Level 100, Anger Management, Heavy Repercussions, and Ravager. So Anger Management, every 10 rage you spend reduces the remaining cooldown on Battlecry, Last Stand, and Shield Wall by 1 second. Heavy Repercussions, Shield Slam extends the duration of Shield Block by 1.5 seconds, and Shield Block increases the damage of Shield Slam by an additional 30%. And Ravager throws a whirling weapon at the target location, inflicts damage to all enemies within 8 yards, over 6.3 seconds at the moment. It increases your parry chance by 30% for 12 seconds. So Ravager is going to probably be your best DPS and AoE one. Heavy Repercussions will come in real handy on heavy melee bosses or encounters, or on progression where you just need that more defense, and it'll also give you the boost obviously to your Shield Slam. I don't really see a lot of use for Anger Management at the moment. So on to our artifact weapon, Neltharian's Fury. Now I get what they tried to do here, I'm just not sure if it worked very well. So as I said at the start, you enter a defensive posture, critically blocking all attacks while a big stream of Shadow Flame erupts from your shield. It deals damage via Shadow Flame over 3 seconds to all enemies in front of you, and you can use your defensive abilities while this is channeling. Now it sounds good, but it's a channeled ability, and that's the word that I pointed out at the start. If you move, if you get knocked back, it cancels. You are a tank with a channeled ability, and it feels a little bit weird. It's also been nerfed that hard at the moment that it is better to use Devastate on single target than your amazing legendary artifact ability, which kind of killed it for me as well. It's fine on AoE, but from a single target, it's pretty pointless. Now, this is just my own 2 cents as well, completely my own taste, guys, and you may love it, but I think the artifact weapon looks like shit as well. If you compare it to something like the Protection Paladins, we really bombed out. We got a dull, uninteresting artifact weapon, and that's just my ability. I'm not a real fan of the other skins we can get for it either. I think it looks like shit, and it's lucky that you can transmog it. So it's not a huge problem, and it's just my 2 cents, but I think they could have probably given us a lot more in regards to our artifact weapon, creating something that looks really fucking cool. So diving into our artifact weapon and away from that bullshit, the 3 major traits, or the 3 golden traits we have: Might of the Vical, Shield Slam and Revenge generates 50% increased rage during Demoralizing Shout. Dragon Scales, blocking an attack has a chance to increase the total damage ignored by your next Ignore Pain by 60% and generates 30 rage. Scales of Earth, critical blocks have a chance to cause an eruption from the Scale of Earth Water, your shield, increasing your armor by 30% and dealing attack powered into physical damage to all enemies in front of you. So our 3 golden traits are actually really fucking decent. They're going to be a real welcome boost in regards to rage generation and damage reduction as we gear up, and honestly I can't say anything bad about them. They're really solid. Looking at our other traits on the artifact weapon, Strength of the Earth aspect, so increased damage dealt by Devastate by 15%, Rage of the Fallen increases damage dealt by Revenge by 3%, and there's 3 points to put into that one. Viral Shield Training increases armor by 3%, we've got 3 points to put into that. Will to Survive Last Stand increases health by an additional 10%, we've got 3 points for that one. Toughness increases stamina by 3% for 3 points. Rumbling Voice increased the duration and radius of Demoralizing Shout by 50%, there's 1 point. Wall of Steel, when you target an ally with Intercept, it redirects 2 additional attacks and the damage you take from those attacks is reduced by 20%, 1 point. Leaping Giants reduces the cooldown of Heroic Leap by 2 seconds for 3 points. Intolerance increases maximum rage by 10, and we've got 3 points. Dragon Skin increases the total damage ignored by Ignore Pain by 2%, we've got 3 points. Thunder Crash increases damage dealt by Thunderclap by 10% for 3 points. And Reflective Plating, Spell Reflect now reflects an unlimited number of spells during its duration and generates 10 rage each time it reflects a spell for 1 point. So again, our artifact, in terms of its traits and abilities, is really fucking awesome. It's going to bring great mitigation, survival modifiers, and improvements. However, everything is just going to come back to that rage generation model of rage from damage taken. The modifiers, the survival improvements, whatever you want to call them, in the end are going to result in us taking less rage and having less to do as we play, and that feels shit. So that is pretty much it, guys, for the whole basis of the change you're going to experience from the Protection Warrior in WOD to the Protection Warrior in Legion. Protection Warriors are going to be a great learner tank, and I know that's probably not what a lot of you want to hear, but the worse you play while you're learning, the more rage you're going to have to use your active mitigation abilities and to learn what you're doing. We're going to have really good application in progression, mythic pluses and things like that. The issues that we'll really face will come at the end when content's on farm, or if you're unfortunately off tanking and you've just got to pull your rage and not use it in any offensive ability. and you're probably, if soloing is your thing, Protection Warrior is probably going to pan out rather weak the way things stand at the moment. So that is it, guys. I do hope I haven't painted a really negative picture. It is really only that one problem as we sort of get towards the end that is going to affect Warriors. Otherwise, they are more than fine, and they still are quite fun to play. You just need to get over that initial shock change. But that's it, guys. If I've missed anything, if I've made a mistake, if you have any questions, please hit me up. And as always, thank you very much for the support. Thank you very much for tuning in and watching the video. Like, comment, subscribe, tell your mum I said hi, and I will see you all next time, guys.